Welcome to AI Watch. My name is Björn. I'm the Chief Data Scientist at 2021 AI, and today I have Kathrin Kirchner with me, Associate Professor from DTU. Kathrin, welcome to the interview.
I'm looking forward to tell a bit more about my research about adopting AI in the companies.
That looks very interesting, and I think that's something everyone is kind of wondering about, especially after ChatGPT has overwhelmed the workspace. What do you think? How do you see AI's role in the workspace and workplace? How does it change it over time?
So I think AI is already now a part of everyday work, and we can have a role like augmenting the people that is supporting, for instance, in decision making. So we have a lot of data available in the companies. So a manager, for instance, can rely on the data, use AI, and for instance, make decision in sales or marketing. We have also already AI that takes an automating role. That means it automatically decides without any human involvement, or even can lead people. We see this, for instance, in the work platforms like Volt or Just Eat. The algorithm is deciding who brings which food to which customer, or who gets a reward, and so on.
I think that last thing you touched upon is quite interesting, right? Because if we look on regulation of AI models and things like that, it's often saying if the AI is actually taking actions, then it's, depending on the use case, obviously, perceived as high risk or even prohibited. How do you see, companies, handling that in terms of when is it more decision support approach of an AI, and when is an AI taking really over, making a decision, like in the cases you mentioned?
I would say in many cases now we have more like a supporting role, so that we still, the people still decide whether they would like to accept the results. Like something like this, what we call algorithmic management, where also the algorithm does a decision. It's still a high risk also for and has an influence on the well-being of workers, because they might find that it is unfair how they are handled, or that they get a tour to the other end of Copenhagen, while others always get the nearby tours and maybe can earn more money.
What is with that, I think, and this higher automation and increasing efficiency, how do you see the effect AI has on the workplace? Is it usually increasing productivity or efficiency, or could it also have the opposite effect in some cases?
I mean, in many cases it can, of course, enhance our productivity if we use tools like a ChatGPT, for instance, to help with emails or with getting a better formulations and so on. And of course, AI is able to analyze a lot of data in parallel. And that helps, of course, to make quicker decisions. So in this way, it can help us. On the other hand, there are also some dangers, of course, with using this, because AI can only as good as the data that we have, and we all know that we have a human bias, and bias is also in the data. So we might get results that are also biased. And then we cannot just use them. We also have to use the AI results responsibly, and we have to be aware of such dangers that we can have.
I mean, that's something I'm, from our practice, very familiar with, right? All the kind of biases that are potentially there that one needs to mitigate, and all the regulation we see now upcoming. How do you see it in your practice, or what you observe with companies in terms of how do they handle these challenges? And that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be regulated, right? I mean, the challenges, as you say, they're always there. How do they overcome that, or try to minimize the risks?
I mean, one thing is, for instance, what is a risk with that nowadays everyone is using ChatGPT, that which is of course a tool that is based on the internet, that we are not anymore aware, is this what we get by ChatGPT invented or hallucinated, as we say, or is it real? So we always have to be able to need new skills to be able to understand how this is produced and on which basis. So is it, do I have the intellectual property rights, for instance, if AI would invent something based on already existing knowledge from other people, can I use it and claim that is my knowledge now or my invention? And also there are already companies that introduced rules. Can we use ChatGPT? Because when I copy my project report or my patent description into ChatGPT and ask, can you reformulate? Then of course ChatGPT and the underlying database also knows now about that I have this patent. So there are companies that, for instance, forbid this, or there are other companies who develop their own large language models based on the company data, so that we have a better usage and not leak information to the public.
I agree. I think that that's definitely a suitable approach if resources and money is available, obviously. Yeah, and that's is a trade-off. If we look a little beyond the technical requirements or regulation requirements, and we'll say, generally from using AI in a workplace, I always see that one hurdle besides the technical one is also the adoption of that within the workforce. How do you see that? Is it more something managers like to use AI and employees don't like, or how is that?
I think it depends, because there are managers who are very open to this, and they heard, of course, that AI is cool and it can optimize a lot of processes, so they are maybe very open for that. And there might be also employees that are open for that, and others that might be afraid that somehow they can be replaced by AI. That's also a discussion right now, no? That will AI take away our jobs, or what will change here? And I fully agree, we also need to have an organizational adoption. We cannot just use AI somehow, or the manager can give the data scientist some data and say, okay, please analyze and find something with AI, but there need to be business value behind. Yep. So we need to produce something that the company needs, can really use, so that where they see really the value in it. And of course, we need also kind of organizational culture for adapting it. No, when we now suddenly want to rely more on AI or use a lot of data we base our decision on, there are also changes in how we do work processes, how we optimize work processes. That is also that we have to take the people with us, the employees, and also the managers, of course.
Now we touched upon two major, from my perspective, two major hurdles or challenges, being the culture, the how to work, and processes, as well as regulation and what is actually possible and allowed to do. So what kind of strategies do you see on how to work with AI, how to adopt AI in a workplace the best way? Are there any cooking recipes, or is it really case by case, basically?
I think there are some things that we need to be aware of. So because AI is still like a fashion, right? And a lot of companies would like to do it, but they are not maybe yet aware what I can do it, and do I have the right data for that? When we define such a project in the company, then it's always good to say, okay, what would I like to achieve with using AI? Not just I would like to use to become more efficient, but where concretely what I really expect. And then we need also to have both the developers, I mean the data scientists, and the business people on board, because it's often the case that, of course, the managers or employees don't understand fully what AI can do. It's like a buzzword, so what is behind this? On the other hand, it's also the data scientist who doesn't maybe know the business and cannot fully understand what is the meaning of the data. So there should be always a collaboration between both sides. Bring the people on board. That could be like with training, that they are aware, okay, now we use AI for this, this is the result, how it can be used. And it could be also that AI is visible. Like for instance, we have a kind of monitor. We come into the company, we see some monitors where we see the business results and prediction of other results, so that we are, let's say, more exposed to what AI is doing, so that we are not afraid of that AI will take our jobs, but the employees maybe see more what AI can do for us, for the company.
I think that's a very, very good closing remark. Being not afraid of AI, seeing the opportunities, and working towards that to get the whole workforce backing the decision, not just management making it. With that being said, I'll thank you very much, Kathrin, to be here, to have the discussion with us, and for you, looking forward to seeing you next time. Check out AI Watch on our digital platforms, and yeah, see you next time.